has shown a lot of improvement. He's a little fragile with the injury situation, but Sam Bradford looks to be a real talented young man. And with the running attack with Steven Jackson, what do you see this game, Shark, shaping up to look like, in your opinion? An away game, the opener, St. Louis fans are definitely getting excited about the changes that are going on in St. Louis, that they're not just going to be a welcoming mat this year for other NFC South teams. You know, they're just they're coming to play, and they feel like they got a team that can compete with the Eagles. When the Eagles bring their 53-man roster to St. Louis, how do you see this game shaping up, say, first half, and give us a final if you have any thoughts about how this game may shake out?
Yeah, sure. Well, obviously any game on the road is tough regardless of who you're playing. But, you know, the Eagles, obviously, they have some holes to linebackers and the offensive line. However, just their skill positions alone, I think the Eagles can still play, I don't want to say a bad or a subpar game and beat St. Louis. I know St. Louis has some good players, but I'm thinking the Eagles, in the first half, it's going to be probably sloppy. You might even see an offsides or two. But in the end, they'll get their act together. I'm thinking they'll probably win by 2 touchdowns, like a 28-14 type of game, I'm thinking.
But, yeah, I think it's going to be a little tighter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a little tighter than that. We're going to get Scott and Ray's thoughts on the game a little bit later. But while I have you on, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Now, Vic has came out and said he's ready to handle all expectations. What are your expectations of this team? Is it Super Bowl or bust when you show up Week 3, when the Eagles show up against the Giants in the home opener? Are you going to be running that chant and buying Super Bowl T-shirts? Do you know that this is going to be a long campaign where the Eagles got a target on their back, or how do you see this? And what kind of quarterback do you look for Mike Vick to be? The scrambling type of quarterback? I know this is a multifaceted question. Is he going to be getting out of the pocket and running the ball a little bit, or is he going to be more of a pocket passer to where they're going to try to preserve his body most of the year?
Well, any season that to his fans is always Super Bowl or bust. However, it's definitely higher. Expectations are higher this year than in the past with other years because of the acquisitions, because of Michael Vick being signed, because of the stuff being said. I mean, the whole Dream Team thing's a bunch of nonsense. So, yeah, anything less than that is a disappointment, especially because we have a coach who I like, who's been here for 13 years, and I really don't want to hear the crying about fire Andy Reid next year if we don't win. So that's going to, it's going to cause a lot of angst if they do not. As for Michael Vick, it might be a little tough because a quarterback has to trust this offensive line, and he looks around and he sees all these young guys, and he's going to have a tough time resisting the urge to run, which at times it doesn't bother me as much because in the Giants game, I'll give you an example, when they're getting slaughtered, what turned that game around was Vick said, to hell with this, man. I'm taking this team on my back and I'm running. A lot of those plays in that, the end of that fourth quarter were off of Michael Vick's scrambles. So I think he'll probably get antsy and run a little bit. Hopefully he learns to slide. And then as he, gets accustomed to this offensive line, I think he will get a little bit more patient and start throwing the ball better.
Well, I hope you're right, because that's one of the things I want to see out of Mike Vick. When he took over for Kevin Cobb last year halfway through the Green Bay game, he did have to use his feet to get himself back into that game. But in the next 3-4 starts, you saw Vick stepping into the pocket and picking his receivers out. He had Macklin on a string. He had some good rapport with a lot of the young receivers, Deshaun Jackson, and you could see him sitting in the pocket and being comfortable. When it seemed like the Giants got a kind of a blueprint on Mike Vick, and he started bringing a little bit more heat and kind of taking risks in the secondary and seeing if he could get rid of the ball efficiently under pressure. That's when we started to see a little bit more of the Atlanta Falcons Mike Vick, where, I'm going to take this on my shoulder, but I got the ball out here and I'm running, and I'm not picking really good times to slide and not to slide. I'd like to see Michael sit into the pocket, and I'd like to see, it all depends on this offensive line, as you said, Shark, but I'd like to see this offensive line give Mike Vick a chance to get comfortable and not have to use his physical abilities and just have to maybe bring him out of his back pocket every once in a while, but not every series on a third down do you want him trying to rely on running around the end here, because sooner or later one of those linebackers is going to pick him off, and we're looking at this point, you're looking at Mike Kafka. So we don't want to see that. A lot of people's hopes and dreams and dream team aspirations would really fall if you see Mike Vick go down in the early parts of the season. I'm not trying to say that that's to happen, but he's one of the smaller quarterbacks. So a lot depends on this offensive line and the way they juggle it up. And them bringing in Devon did give me a little bit of confidence that Mudd has one of his guys in there to protect Vick and what looks to be his blind side. So I appreciate the call, Shark. We're going to get on to a little bit more business, talk about